Call the Dixon County Commission regular meeting to order, October 31st, 2024. Please stand, flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I move we approve the agenda with no additions.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda. Minutes of the October 24th meeting. Expenditures of $154,624.21. Indian Defense wire of $13,000. SD Security wire of $4,218.00. Insurance wire of $73.80. And hand checks for $140.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. First comments, committee reports. Lynn?
Last Thursday after our meeting, there was a North Central Kansas regional dinner that they had in Salina, and I know you and Janelle attended it. They honored a couple of individuals. The clerk from Miltonville, Kansas, all the work that she does, volunteerism, and I mean, just gets very involved and utilizes volunteers up there, and just one of those people that makes things happen. And then also Don Landau was recognized, and he's with Landau Industries up there in Marysville, and has quite a success record, and one of the largest employers up from that area of the state. And so it was nice to see those individuals honored. Our Dixon County EDC did not meet this past month, but I did visit with the director, and Jessica Goodell's working hard and getting quite a few things taken care of. And I think the day I visited with her, she was going over to Solomon for their commission meeting, but there are a few things happening that, as always in economic development, they don't always reveal those things right away because they're in the process and some confidentiality involved. But look for good things to happen in months ahead there. And I did have an opportunity to visit briefly with Senator Moran, and it's good to have a senator that is involved in the state of Kansas and the availability and such. I mean, he seems to be out here quite a bit, and we have some things too that we're working with him on. That's all I have.
Thank you, Lynn. Ron?
I did spend a little time yesterday.
Sure. Okay. Sorry.
I did spend a little time yesterday at the Juvenile Detention Center in Junction City. And what's happening right now, it seems like these young kids are wanting to come there. And I'm not saying it to be that they're doing bad things, but believe it or not, they're being treated better there than they are where they're at. So that's creating somewhat of a problem, but overcrowding and stuff like that. But otherwise, everything's operating just well and things like that. But it takes a lot of supervision, a lot of help from everybody, to complete communities to make help these young men and women that get in trouble. So we hope that we can get things straightened out that way. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ron. Yeah, yesterday I attended the KAC meeting, Kansas Association of Counties meeting in Topeka. Nothing really new. The legislative procedure is going to be long and arduous stuff. That's all I have. We attended North Central Kansas Regional Planning Commission. Thought it was well put together. Moving on. We have no presentation of particular petitions or proclamations. Janelle, would you please read the public comments?
Marcus is going to do that for me.
Thank you, Janelle.
2 hats, 3 hats he's wearing today.
With Janelle's voice, I think I'll cover the rules for public comment for today. Per the Open Meetings Act, KSA 754317 and 754318A, as the elected board, the county commission is not allowed to meet or make any decisions without posting the meeting. They are only allowed to act on items on the agenda which is set. During the regular meeting, the county commission may allow for public comments on items not listed on the approved agenda. If you wish to provide comments, please come forward to the podium and state your name and address. If you are online, raise your hand and we will unmute you. State your name and address. Each person may speak for 3 minutes. The allotted time will start after the speaker has given his or her name and address. Public comments shall be addressed to the county commission only and not to the speaker or the audience. All the county commission will be permitted, or only the county commission will be permitted to ask questions of the speaker. The public comment period is not a back and forth discussion with the county commission. You should make your views and input known to them, but it is not a time to ask them questions. You should not expect them to respond to your comments. Comments may express support or agreement with previous speakers, but in the interest of time, please do not repeat the same information. You may state something to the effect of name and address, and I agree with the previous speaker. It is important to maintain a respectful, non-threatening atmosphere for anyone who would like to speak. Please do not engage in such actions as cheering, booing, clapping, insults, threats, etc.
Please step forward, and I will have a timer here, and I'll give you notice when you got 30 seconds left.
Morning, Horace Jenkins, 1924 1200 Avenue, Hope, Kansas. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your service to this county. I support the voices of the community with the planning and zoning ruling on October 17th, 2024. It has been said by some in this county that this county is in need of money. As a taxpayer, I'm telling you, I am in agreement with increasing taxes in lieu of this proposed cut. I would like to believe this county does not make a practice of passing out blank checks. In my opinion, we're allowing an organization to come in and present us with a one-sided contract, which citizens have no input, playing neighbor against neighbor, family against family, all for greed. Earlier this year, I submitted a 78-page study conducted by Appraisal Group 1 to this committee. It discussed turbines within the view sheds and property value losses. This was an evidence-based study with measurable data indicating property losses of up to 49% based on where the turbine was positioned. To my knowledge, no studies have been conducted or published to counter such evidence as presented by Appraisal Group 1. One may read such articles, however, evidence to support such is hard to locate for me. All decisions by this county should be evidence-based, not to sacrifice the rights of fair and equal protection of any one citizen. By this proposal, only a county taxpayer living within a 2-mile perimeter of Abilene is protected from turbines in the view shed. Show me the benefit for that homeowner. Davidson County has always been a strong supporter of the military in Fort Riley, and we thank you for such support. Many retired veteran homeowners spoke at planning and zoning over their concerns, all of which Dickinson County chose to be home after their years of service to this great nation. As a retired combat veteran standing before you today, I ask you, is this a way to treat veterans in this community? Your vote should be for all citizens, not just one benefiting. Don't just think of the veterans, think of the elderly couple out in the country. All their kids have moved to town. They need to get closer to healthcare resources. That's their investment. That's their nest egg. When they sell that property, that's how they're going to live.
20 seconds.
Thanks, sir. In closing, I had the honor to wear my dress blues. Again, I'd do it again with just as much pride. You're fixing to vote on this. You said the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, liberty and justice to all. Batter up.
Nobody next?
Philip Rock, 1246 1700 Avenue. Thank you. Electricity and power are central parts of my everyday life due to my occupation as a lineman. Over the past 23 years as a lineman, I've never seen a greater need for power than today. So we have to start asking, where would all this new power come from? I believe and think you should too. Windmills are the answer. Windmills efficiency is unmatched. On Tuesday, October 15th, an Evergy employee informed me that windmills in Kansas were producing 90% of the energy used in Kansas that day. Some say they will take too much farm ground or property. Well, let's compare that to the other power sources. 1 megawatt of solar power takes up 10 acres of ground. The Wolf Creek nuclear power plant occupies 10,000 acres in comparison to a windmill, which is roughly 20 feet in diameter. If results or how much they produce is an issue for you, the wind farm is going up in the area will power on conservative side 30,000 plus homes. A couple specific examples of needed power coming up in the next year in the state of Kansas is the battery plant in DeSoto, Kansas, which will require as much power as it takes to power the city of Manhattan. The Google data center in Kansas City will also require 400 megawatts. This is not the first wind farm to be put up in Kansas. Successful operations can be highlighted all around the state. The need for power and economic revival in the area is great. Windmills provide both in abundance. Thank you.
Want to come up with, please? Thank you.
Janet Bielefeld, 329 Key Road, Hope, Kansas. Good morning, Dickinson County Commissioners and citizens. As lifelong residents of Dickinson County, we are not in favor of any industrial wind projects in the county. The landscape, beautiful sunrises and sunsets, wildlife, farmers taking care of the land, cattle roaming the pastures and prairie, peace and quiet, and wide open spaces make us proud to live in Dickinson County. This wind project will definitely change all of that. Many citizens of the county do not realize the negative impact this project will have for thousands of county residents. If this project is allowed in the south end of the county, make no mistakes, there will be other wind and solar projects coming to your area in the future. Then it will be too late. Those residents receiving financial gain from turbines are a very small percentage of the total population of the county. The negative impact of these projects, however, will affect a far larger number of citizens. Another concern is that the terms of the leases may not be fully understood and how much control property owners could be giving up to a company whose main shareholders are foreign owned. We have seen documented videos and research results regarding the dramatic negative impact of wind turbines on the land and citizens, many of which you hear from other speakers. We hope you have done the same for the sake of all county residents you represent. Recently, it has been reported and in the news that NL is in big financial trouble. They are asking the Italian government to guarantee their loans. We would not think Dickinson County would want any part of this company. Thank you for your time and consideration on this important decision to save Dickinson County. This is just one article on the recent.
Thank you.
I'm Joyce Rock, 1669 1300 Avenue, Hope, Kansas. I'm a landowner, a leaseholder with Hope Ridge Project. Good morning, commissioners. I've decided to speak today to share some important information about this project. It's important for the commission to understand how the leases of Dickinson County are broken down. There are a total of 232 leases. 135 of these leases, which is 54% of the total leases, are held by people who live in Dickinson County. Most of these are farmers who live and work on the land within the footprint of the wind farm. 84 leases, which is 36%, are held by people who live in surrounding counties in Kansas. These landowners rent their land to other farmers or family members who farm. Finally, 23 leases, which is a total of 10%, live outside the state of Kansas. My sister-in-law is one of them. These landowners also lease their land to family member who is actively engaged in farming or to a neighboring farmer. As you can see and appreciate, a vast majority of leaseholders live right here where the project is going to be built. They will spend their money coming to them from this project locally. Others will also be spending much of their money here in the form of property taxes, crop inputs like fertilizer, chemicals, and seed at the local co-op or a local seed dealer. In conclusion, I hope this gives you a better understanding of the facts surrounding this wind project. And it is my belief that the commission should approve this project. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Mary Brock, 940 Lark Road, Hope. My husband and I bought our first land in 1984 with interest rates at 18%. We got a first-time farmer's loan for 5.25% interest. We didn't have much money. We lived very frugal to pay off the land. Farmers today are dealing with high price increases for farm machinery, parts, interest rates, and inflation. The wind farm dollars would help save family farms, plus it would be a windfall for our county, schools, and townships. Do we have the right to use our property as we want, or do we not? Where do we draw the line? I hope you vote yes in support of property rights. Thank you.
My name is Ann Rose. We live at 1404 Key Road here in south of town. My husband and I did sign a lease for our property with NL under deceptive practices as far as we are concerned. The company misrepresented to us. They slid this piece of paper across the table that had all these turbines marked on a map around us and told us all of our neighbors had already signed contracts and we would be looking at these turbines anyway. We might as well sign this agreement for a transmission line. Maybe we are gullible, maybe we were stupid, but we fell for this unscrupulous tactic and we did sign a lease for transmission lines, and we regret that very deeply. And we are not the only people in our community who regret what we have agreed to. There are other landowners who are regretting their decision as well as we learn more about this company. This is not a company that I feel like our county should be getting in bed with. And I agree that people have the right to do with their property as they see fit, right up until the point that it is invasive into their neighbor's property. What our neighbors are doing on their property is going to affect us. We're going to have a flicker through our home 12 hours a day as the windmill blades cross the sun. And we are going to have vibrational frequencies. We're going to have air noise. And we do not want this. And so as representatives of the entire county, we are asking you to consider everyone's rights in this issue and vote no, please.
Morning. Kent Rock, 940 Lark Road, Hope. I want to talk about stability today. As a farmer, there's absolutely no stability in this occupation. Actually, the only stable thing is the increased risk we take each day that is completely out of our control. We battle the weather, weeds, insects, increases in crop inputs, repair costs, and machinery costs that have skyrocketed. And on top of that, the prices we receive and the cost of inputs are determined for us throughout the world. In a recent article in the Reflector Chronicle from Scott Hill, the 70th District Representative, that talked about the emerging agricultural crisis. In 1974, the price of wheat was $5.60 per bushel, and corn was $3.62 per bushel. Guess what? Prices are at that or below that today. To match prices today, wheat would have to be $34.60 per bushel, and corn would be $22.37 per bushel. So what do farmers do? Guess what? We take what they offer and we pay what they want. We keep planting and producing at or below the cost of production. That's how we are. Probably the most productive occupation in this county and country. We don't strike. We don't burn buildings down. We just keep producing the best and cheapest food supply in the world. These turbines would bring incredible stable income to the struggling farm economy. Most of the opposition doesn't know or doesn't seem to care how tough this occupation is. They aren't willing to risk a few inconveniences that would help us farmers have some stable income. This project would be an incredible boost to the ag industry, towns, townships, schools, and the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody online?
Anybody has their hand up?
Sure.
Chris Steele, 904 Maple Street here in Abilene. This makes me uncomfortable because there's former neighbors, friends in this room on both sides of this subject, but I'll read my beliefs here. I'd like first to commend the Planning Commission for doing their research and asking tough questions. Tough questions that NL had trouble answering, and they had to get a political lobbyist up there at the podium to kind of give some explanations that nobody really understood. The main thing that I'm here to talk about is a comprehensive plan, which makes it very clear that what the citizens of the county deem as important. I heard a comment from someone about the money and don't run a gift horse. Don't let a gift horse get away. I look at this more as a Trojan horse. This just opens up the county to all kinds of unknown and negative consequences, one of the biggest being foreign ownership of this company. The county does not need this kind of development. Please uphold the Planning Commission's recommendation and take it one step further and ban industrial wind development. Thank you.
One last time. Yep.
My name is Nancy Gracky. I reside at 5733 Granigan Point, Manhattan, Kansas. I'd like to remind the commission about certain findings of the Dickinson County Comprehensive Plan 2050. These findings were definitely forgotten or ignored by the Zoning Commission. On pages 146 through 150 in a SWOT, S-W-O-T analysis, S stands for strength, and that was listed as agricultural land. Weakness was a lack of communication, cooperation, and vision throughout the county. That speaks for some of the opponents who have no vision, no intention of cooperating, and communicate only in personal attacks. The opportunity for the county was wind power. The only one was right there. 3 threats were identified: retaining youth, apprehension of change, and abatement of independent agriculture. So, opportunities and threats were then described as external factors that cannot be controlled by the county. We have been offered an opportunity for a wind farm. How is that out of your control? You absolutely have some control in this. In regard to threats, they all relate to the industry and agriculture. The county can welcome an industry that will retain a permanent workforce, help us old folks accept change, and keep the family farm in the family. According to the United States Census of 2020, there are 14,100 people who live within the city limits of Dickinson County. That's 76.6% of the total population. Again, quoting from your findings on page 46, half of that population of Dickinson County resides within 5 miles of Interstate 70, leaving the majority of land in the county in agricultural production. Harrington's the only exception to this. The comprehensive plan also listed some recommendations for the county to consider. Among others, land use was specifically listed. Again, quoting, encourage development that is conscious of both the built and natural environment that will preserve the character of the county. Plan a variety of land uses that incorporate the preservation of valuable agricultural land, the prairie landscape, natural resources, and historical resources. A wind farm in a relatively small rural area of the county does that. Dickinson County's historical resources are already identified by and large, and they lay within the city limits. Those that are waiting to be designated can be protected by the commission. The greatest impact is upon those landowners who have farmed for generations and continue to be stewards of their land. Wind is our natural renewable resource. It only makes sense to make use of it for the benefit of the entire county. Thank you. Go ahead.
Excuse me. My name is Dale Davidson. I live on our family farm at 1341 Avenue near Hope. I'm speaking in support of the wind farm project. A few years ago, our family was honored by Dickinson County Farm Bureau for having a sesquicentennial farm. My great-grandfather homesteaded the farm that we currently live on. He served in the Union Army and enlisted at age 16 as a bugler. He was wounded in the Civil War and suffered a leg wound that stayed with him the rest of his life. The county to the south of us has wind farms on the north and south ends of the county. I've talked with area farmers that have told me that these Marion County farmers have come into our county, outbid local farmers for farmland and the leasing of farm ground. They can and will have the ability to keep moving north and spending more money than Dickinson County farmers can afford. I don't blame anyone for doing this, but the wind farm would definitely help Dickinson County farmers financially. I've heard many arguments against the wind farm, and a few of them have some merit. Foreign ownership was one concern I saw on TV. Most of us have smartphones that are from a foreign country. From our farm, we can see the flashing red lights through the wind towers in Marion County. Does not bother me seeing the lights with the new technology coming with the wind farm. We have been told those lights will only come on when the plane gets close. The main thing I hear from people is that they think the towers are an eyesore. There are many other things that I would consider an eyesore, not a wind tower. I've also been told that wind farm is bad because energy will not be used locally, that will be transported out of state. I donate blood to the American Red Cross. The last 2 donations have gone to Houston, Texas hospitals. Does this mean it's a bad thing because it's not going to be used in Kansas? Years ago in the 1930s, there was fierce opposition to Tuttle Creek Reservoir. Many farmers were going to lose their farms if the project went through. Local farmers fought it for many years successfully until the flood of 1951. When many towns, including Manhattan, Kansas City, were severely flooded, the project went through for the good of the people, thus displacing many farmers. Securing our nation's waterways was deemed more important. Landowners sacrificed their land for a reservoir. The vast majority of landowners I've talked with are in favor of the wind farm. You have the opportunity to help the local landowners. When my great-grandfather settled in southern Dickinson County, it was partly a result of his fight for his country that he believed in. The fight was not because something was an eyesore. The fight was because he believed in his country and its survival. He was looking to the future as to what he could do to make us a better nation. Property rights are very important to this nation. The number one complaint I have heard from the opposition is that turbines are an eyesore. Please remember, our forefathers fought and died for more than an eyesore. Our forefathers that fought for us were fighting for human and property rights.
Thank you.
Lori Hambright, 1853 2700 Avenue, Chapman. Thank you for your service to our county and to our zoning board also. Just in the 6 townships of the 9 townships that Anel wants to expand on, and they have expanded their area in the last few months. But just in those 6 townships, a while back, I got out the plat map and counted, and I didn't count the city of Hope and Navarre's residents. There's over 400 homes in those 6 township area that people live in. This is not the typical area that you would put a wind farm if you think you need to. These people, that's almost 2 per section. Okay, you got to think about that. So it is not only not a fit for our land, it's not a fit for us economically. It is only going to benefit the few. And I can't believe that these few that have signed, their lands have liens on them now with a foreign company that has absolutely no obligation to this country. They got on an airplane in Rome, flew to Kansas City, got off, walked in the back doors of all these farmhouses and threw a lease on the kitchen table. And Fort Riley, we're still looking at that. The Department of Defense, this is a very real deal that somebody needs to find out because I've been working on it too. My husband came here because of military. I'm friends with a retired general where we're looking at the flight paths. You guys have known this since me, Vietnam War days. This is a training flight path right across these townships. So that's something else that has to be looked at. And this is only really benefiting a small few. Like I said, work for all of the citizens of Dickinson County. That's all we ask, is all the citizens, taxpayers in this county be thought of in this situation. On just a little bit different deal, but it's connected. Yesterday on 1800 Avenue, I ran a pasture from the landlord. The absentee landlord was there. It had just rained. It was raining quite a bit. And a belly dump truck with Dickinson County on it come flying by so fast. And I know what rock trucks do. I do. Craig knows I know what rock trucks do. Okay, this is the fastest one that came down 1800 headed to the Ham Quarries. And it completely splattered our pickup. We're right off the side of the road because the maintainer had been working on it. So guess what? The maintainer, he was back there again this morning to fix what these rock trucks. This was a county bottom truck.
20 seconds.
So I would just look at this very about the county and about our state. Look at for us first, not for the foreign company that's putting pressure on everybody. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Lyle Rich, 1868 Highway 4. Nope. Don't have anything written up. This is just off the cuff and I'm no speaker. But I can't say I'm for it or against it. I've got land signed up in it. And that, I guess I trust the commissioners and the zoning commission. Listen to that. But on the other hand, all these protesters, where were they at when TransCanada pipeline went through? I never heard anything. I've got 150-foot poles along the east side of my property on Quail Road. That goes down to the pumping station that I can hear running. At times when the wind is in the south, I can hear them motors running at my place. I never heard any protesters about that. Pipeline goes right through my middle of my ground. And they had dirt piled up to my pipe corral fence when they was putting that in to dig the line. So and I've heard about windmills killing birds. How many deer do we kill on the highway with vehicles that raise their car insurance? I don't see any protesters coming out and banning cars. So just something to think about. I'm not very smart, but I put my trust in you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Last call.
Excuse me. I'm Theresa Shippy, and my husband and I, Larry, live at 1446 1100 Avenue. I was born and raised in Southwest Kansas, and my parents farmed there. I have lived in the Texas and Oklahoma Panhandle in Southwest Kansas most of my life, and definitely my adult life. I have lived around the wind farms, so I don't have a prepared speech, but I come to you with experience from the communities that have had the wind farms. They're not new. They've been around, and I think we can all agree that we do need electricity. My professional career, I was a nurse and a long-term care administrator. And in our field, electricity, a lack thereof, equates to a life-threatening situation. So we do need more electricity, and we do in these small communities need economic growth to stay alive. We've seen so many of the small towns dry up and blow away, basically. But to have change, we must have, or to have growth, we must have change. In that, in Southwest Kansas, Seaboard came in with the hog farms, and we had basically the same kind of an outcry. My dad was a state representative, and so I did hear about it. They were concerned about groundwater being polluted. They were concerned about land being devalued. A lot of the same concerns that you're dealing with here. But Seaboard came in, and with it, the outcome was increased jobs and money coming into the communities. The communities grew, and actually now they want more in Southwest Kansas. In Southwest Kansas, the turbines came in. We now have solar fields. It has always been a plus for Southwest Kansas from everything that I've heard. A concern I have is if you close your door to an opportunity like this, other businesses that are looking to come to Dickinson County may not consider us. They will say, you know, they'll stay away and go other places. As far as health issues, I haven't seen any of those in the wind farmed areas that I've lived in. The lights are no worse.
20 seconds.
Okay. I'll just jump to the point. It increases the value of land because it gives you another source of income. Landowners should have the right to utilize their land as they see fit to earn a living. Wind turbines are not new. They're not illegal or immoral. We live, farm, and ranch in the midst of the proposed wind farms, and we support it.
Thank you.
Good morning. Ray Hofman, 1121 Key Road, Hambright, Kansas. I would agree with the previous speaker. I support the wind farms. I think it'd be good for the county. I'm talking the entire county because that's going to help relieve some of the tax pressure on property tax. And I see it as an opportunity for the county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to share this morning. My name is Charles Slatter, and I reside at 13153 Knox Street in Overland Park, Kansas. Currently a co-trustee along with my mother, Iva Slatter Living Trust. I'm here today to share our family support in favor of approving the conditional use permit application as presented to you by NL for the development of the Hope Ridge Wind Project. Specifically speaking on behalf of our family, it's our desire to pass along. We have an 80-acre tract and 160-acre tract of land northeast of Hope, Kansas, Paint Road and Quail Road, 1400 Road. It's our desire to pass on to future generation in the form of a legacy in appreciation and love of our ancestral heritage. We feel that the passing of the permit and the completion of the project will assist our family and achieve our legacy goal. Change is very hard and very difficult to accept. In the larger scope of things, I feel that there's really one basic question to be asked of us today. Not in the time in which we live today, but what will the world be like in 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now? We've already seen a migration from the 20th century sole dependence on fossil fuel, oil, and coal in the production of energy. In the last 10, 20 years, we've seen a migration to include newer forms of production of energy called green energy, taking the forms of many different, whether it be wind, whether it be nuclear, whether it be solar. In meeting the needs of climate change, how will we do that in the future? It seems to me that the future will continue to move forward in the world of using alternate forms of energy. Recently, I viewed an interview on CNBC Financial News, whereby the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, he indicated with today's technology and use of artificial intelligence, these data centers use an extreme amounts of energy. And in their term, they'll use up to 10 times their current use. He also indicated that the data centers will pull their future energy needs from green energy sources.
20 seconds.
I suggest to you the application before you presents a grand opportunity to move forward the county and the community in the 21st century. And a vote no is a vote for status quo, and a vote yes is to join the future of the 21st century. And after all, it's your children and grandchildren, great-grandchildren that will live in the future.
Thank you.
Good morning. Barb Barrett, 1608 900 Avenue, Hope, Kansas. My husband is fifth generation farmer. My daughter, who's 5, she's the 6th generation operating this land. Yes, she's 5, but she's out there every day doing chores. She's keeping mom, dad, and grandma in line who we farm with. The majority of the population, I had heard a speaker say, majority of population in Davidson County lives around I-70. That may be true, but what about those that live here in this footprint? Why should my daughter have to grow up in the shadow of your turban? You're going to see real quick, we're opposed. We did not sign a lease. We were offered a lease. We saw right through the one-sided lease. We're not signing. The population here, we have a very diverse rural community. It's not just farmers. It's people that have chosen to retire or to live outside of Fort Riley or the city. They matter too. It shouldn't just be, it's my property rights. Putting a 657-foot tower within a couple hundred feet of my non-participating property is impacting my right to use my land as well. I know exactly how tough farming is. I have an off-farm job. I always have. I just got off a call. That's why I'm here late today. But I don't think that allowing a foreign-owned company to take control of the land with the easement that is in this contract is in the best interest for our family or for Davidson County. Leaseholders, I know that your sales rep has told you that they're not gonna, it's in the contract, but we've never invoked that. You know what? It's not the sales rep's job. Push comes to shove,
they can take control of that land. Why does Enel have a consolation clause in the road and bridge agreement and the power pool contracts, and there's not even a consolation clause in the contract that you landowner signed? You can't get out of it. Our parents and our grandparents survived the 30s and the 80s. Times were tough, but people are tougher. Davidson County is tougher. Farmers are resilient. We will get through this low commodity price cycle. But I ask, with the division this is causing and the unknown potential health consequences, how stable will Davidson County be in 5, 10, or 30 years? How stable will this county be for my daughter? It's not about the money. We've heard a lot about money, a lot about stability. It's not about that. It's about undue burden to our roads. If you've driven down the roads, Highway 43, Highway 4, all of the back roads, they are not designed for industrial traffic. Let's be clear. This is not a commercial project. This is industrial. If this power is going on the grid, it is industrial. What about all the children in the school buses? The school district of Hope, Chapman, Rural Center, all those children are on those school buses. I drive my daughter to Rural Center every day. Their roads are narrow. There's not enough shoulder. Yeah, we're getting 3 more shoulder, but it's not enough. Guys, this contract is the dead man's hand, aces and eights. We all know Wild Bill's legacy. Walk away from it. Hold your hand and walk away. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to last call.
Yeah, I'm Phil Worson, 1432 300 Avenue, Hope, Kansas. I own land down southern part of the county, and I'm in favor of the wind farm. I hate to see this opportunity pass, you know, with what the county can receive. If I were to get a turbine on my property, that'd be great to get that extra money. But the thing of it is, we got to look forward to the county, not just ourselves. I've heard stories about Wolf Creek closing up in the near future. They produce a lot of electricity. Where's that hole going to be filled from? We got to have something out there. So wind only makes a good, sensible solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody online?
It's got their hand raised.
Close. Public comment? Closed. Thank you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm Kevin Morgan. I live at 325 North Main in Hope. I'm a property owner within the project, have a lease. I am for the wind project. I think it could do, the revenue from it would be great for our community of Hope, great for our schools. And I think that it would filter through the county a heck of a lot more than what people think. It's, from my standpoint, you also kind of got to speak from the standpoint of your banker, right? There's going to be bankers that are going to be happy to see this revenue come to agriculture. It's going to be a good thing for families. Just get it started. Fine. I think more than anything, where I would be at on the whole deal is I would like to see this decision get made. I think that the kicking the can down the road any further is a bad idea. You got my business as an example. If my business is going to be operating in a wind farm, it's going to have different decisions to make than if it's not. And we're faced with those decisions every day, right? They're coming at us today, and we don't know what the right thing to do is. And that's me talking as a farmer, but I think you got somebody running a restaurant, somebody running a motel, somebody running an RV place, the guy maintaining the roads. There's a lot of stuff that needs to get, if this is going through, people need to get prepared for it and start making decisions that way. And if, on the same hand, if it's not going through, people need to get prepared for that and start making decisions that way. So I hope more than anything that you set dates that are real and have the vote, and the people of the county get some real direction on what the future is going to be. That's kind of where I'm at.
Thank you. Next to last call, I guess. I'll close commission meeting with other comments. I will make a statement. I've gotten probably 25 or 30 emails. Some of them I can't print because it's outside source. So Janelle's going to print them off. I'm not going to read them all today because they're not all there. They will be in our file. And I didn't look through to see, if they were in favor of it, but there's, I know 25 or 30 at least. And my computer was down when I got here, so I wasn't able to print them off. And like I said, the ones that have an outside source, you have to go through a special deal to print the attachment. So that said, Janelle, your report.
Commissioners, emergency manager participated in a full-scale exercise with the Legion. We did this a couple of years ago, and I'm going to get through it. And it was very beneficial. So as you know, we'll respond outside, and we'll have those participating counties respond here to assist us. We filled open positions in dispatch and in environmental services. Environmental director is attending training on proper disposal of lithium batteries, which is a good thing. EMS staff filled the ambulance project. They collected over 700 food items in Harrington Food Bank there. And we do have drives coming up in Abilene and Chapman. The highway department has opened the bridge at 1675 2500 Avenue. The final mow out of county roads is going on, and they're in the northeast corner of the county. And the paint striper will be here next week to paint 14th and Van Buren. So good news on that as well. That's all I have.
I was up 14th Street and stuff, and it looks good. We get the other trees got out of there.
Yes.
Commissioner, you looked at wrong one?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
We will also be grinding out the stumps that are there too, and cleaning that up. So that'll probably occur towards the end of November.
Yeah. Councilor Doug.
Thank you. I've been working on a couple of projects, one of which is the tax sale coming up. And we haven't put it all together yet, but we're in the process of it. And so those who haven't paid their taxes for a period of time on the sales tax, it will be foreclosing on why they can lose their properties. So we're working on that to try to get that ready. I'd like to be able to get that ready before the end of the year and have a tax sale. And if we can't, we'll do it early next year, and we'll do two in the next year as well in 2025. And we also are working diligently on the recovery court. And many of you who are in here, why you're my age. And so when I grew up, the worst we ever had was a Jack Daniels and a court. And now the youth and the ones that I see in the recovery court are people who have become addicted to drugs. And this is something new to me to see. And I don't know where all the drugs come from, but I have a pretty good idea, and so do you. And it is so difficult for younger people, middle-aged people to get addicted to the drugs and try to recover from it. But it costs about $106 a day to keep an individual in prison. I'm on the board of directors at the prison in Ellsworth, and I get to go out and give the sermon on sometimes. And those people are sad that they've made those mistakes and they're going through the prison. And this county and others are doing everything they can to try to keep people from going into the prison, to give them the opportunity to get sober from it, get off the drugs. And it's very, very difficult for them to do so. I'm not familiar with it, but I know this, that it is very addictive from what I see, what I hear. And so that's what's going on, that we're working hard on the recovery court so that we can try to avoid putting people into prison and causing those problems for them because they're created in themselves, but we're trying to help them through that and also to avoid the tremendous amount of costs that the state would pick up and people who are separated from family because of drugs. And so we're trying to work through that. And And the board, that's what we're working on. Thank you.
You might say, Doug, what it costs recovery court was $10 a person rather than $110.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And
Great benefit for it.
absolutely. And Craig's been in and has spoke to the group, and everybody that I know of that's involved in any of this from the standpoint of how can we help these people are all involved with it to try to come in to figure out how they can help these people to avoid going to prison, having their lives ruined from meth and all of these drugs. It's just, I've never seen anything like it. Like I said, I'm an old guy now, so those things didn't exist back then. And so that's where that goes. It reminds me of the time when I was an 8th grader and the neighbor kid came over and he had a cigarette, and he smoked it all the time. I had like 2 puffs of it. I never smoked a cigarette again. Just didn't have an interest for it. Now, the course, I could find that.
Doug, I might mention too, which I think sometimes there's a little bit of a misunderstanding on the recovery court. It's not just this quick fix that you get some counseling and suggestions for a month and then you're on your way.
Yeah.
There's obligations, and many of them spoke. They've been drug-free for quite a while. I don't know if you want to expand on
Yeah,
that.
you're exactly right. Yeah, getting into we have 5 stages for it. And usually by the time you get to the 4th or 5th stage, you've been through all of the program that's available for you. You got it back under control. And very seldom do I see somebody in stage 4 or 5 that falls back. Now in stage 1, 2, 3, very common because they're addicted to it. We test them continuously. And how come you tested positive? I don't know how I did it. I don't know what caused it. Now, that's only a few, because many of the others will say, yes, I did use, and I did those things. And there's consequences for that. We're trying everything we can to help those people to be able to get back into their community and be trustworthy and get this stuff away from them. And like I said, I've never seen this before, but I hear it comes from the drugs come over into the border, from the border, and doesn't seem to have any problem at all getting available. So that's what we're going through. Anything else?
And some of the monies for this is from the opioid funds that we've received.
We haven't used any of it yet.
We've used a little bit.
The opioid money?
Yes, we have. Yeah.
Did without my knowledge.
You had to approve.
That was for the books and stuff.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it wasn't for the drug court.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We have it earmarked though.
Yes.
For some of those expenses, and it would have to be approved.
Yeah, I know, but we didn't use any for the drug court out of the opioid money.
No, it's just been for the requests that have come in, yes.
And I see many who, the family, in their situation is, we're going to do everything we can to help son-in-law, daughter-in-law, son, whatever it's going to be. And they can start with it, and some are successful, but many have a very difficult time with it. And so they get so frustrated with the son or a grandson or something. Why can't you leave this stuff alone? And you go into the treatment, you go into this here. And like I said, it's apparently such an addictive drug that it just is horrible. And it's unfortunate that this country is going through it. It's just not our community. It's all over. Many of the communities do nothing. They do nothing with them. And you can see the numbers go way up from overdose, everything else that goes with it. So I'm very proud of this community for the work that they put in it. And, if you went to one of the meetings, you would see there's a lot of people involved working as hard as they can to help them. And they're not just saying, oh, I'll hit you on the back of the hand for doing this. That's not the case at all. You tested positive, you knew better than that, and you will go to jail for this period of time right here. And then we'll give you another chance when you come out. But you'll go back over and you'll start again in the treatment program until you can get off it. And some of it, Well, all of it's sad. It's just depending what you're depending on. Here's the dad with his family, and now he's no longer the money earner, or the wife, same thing. And what kind of parents do they make for some little 5, 6, 7-year-olds? How's that help them when they can't get, when the most important thing to them becomes the drug? And so that's why I say we're trying everything that we can to help so that they don't go on to prison. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeannie, election update?
Yes, the early voting has been very busy. We're at 2,031 this morning when I came in here. We have sent out 562 advanced ballots, and we have gotten 326 back. We have sent out 26 UVA-CAVAs, which is military or overseas, and we've gotten 23 of those returned, and we've had 61 provisionals.
Any questions? Yeah, any questions for Jeannie? Notice and communications. We've got a letter from K-Camp, dear commissioners, on behalf of the team here at K-Works, I'm sorry, not K-Camp, K-Works, we'd like to thank you for conducting your safety meeting. We really appreciate your commitment to safety. How many days has the Bridge Department not had an accident? 2,000?
5.
5,000.
5 years, remember?
Yeah. Good job down there.
Yes, very much so.
Also got a letter here from the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, City of Abilene, their public notice, their requirement for the draft of public notice for discharging the receiving stream of their wastewater. It's all the notice of communications besides all the emails I've got in here to know and Jeannie will get. Introduction, consideration, resolutions, none. Unfinished business, none. Other business, consider purchasing of deck and sheeting for 1629 Key Road. Do you want to do it or you want to?
My brother, listen to him.
Marcus Rothschild, Assistant County Administrator, Finance Director. For the bids for decking and sheeting for 1629 Key Road, there was only one bid. It was Wellborn Sales. So that came in at $32,508. And staff is recommending the materials for Wellborn Sales at $32,508.
Any questions for Marcus? I'll make a motion to accept the deal, the bid from Wellborn, $32,508.
Second.
And moving second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Purchase of structural steel for 1629 Key Road.
And for 1629 Key Road, for this section or bid for the structural steel, we did receive 3 separate bids, one from Odin Enterprises, one from Husker Steel, and then one from Wellborn Sales. Odin Enterprises came in at $22,633.98. Husker Steel at $23,270, and Wellborn Sales at $23,631.25. After reviewing the bids, staff is recommending the structural steel from Odin Enterprises at $22,633.98.
I'll make a motion that we accept the bid of Odin Enterprises, $22,633.98 as the low bid, but also staff recommendation.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. I will make the comment here on the deck sheeting. We only usually get one bid from most of the time, I mean, all the time since I've been on.
Yes.
I'm the only one, Wellborn Sales, the only one to provide that to us. Consider purchase of culverts and various locations in 300 block of Camp Road.
3,000.
Oh, 3,000. Oh, sorry.
Yes, so for the culverts and tubes at the multiple locations ranging from 3030 Camp Road down to 3531 Camp Road at about 5 different locations. We received 3 separate bids for this as well. From Metal Culverts, we received a bid of $15,245.80. Wellborn Sales, $11,351.40. And Contech Engineered Solutions, $10,981.50. After staff review, staff is recommending the culverts to be purchased from Contech Engineered Solutions for $10,981.50.
I'll make a motion to accept contacts.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Now, they will be delivered, or we have to pick these up? They'll be delivered. I know I sit here in a bid that we, that picked up.
Yeah.
So that they will deliver them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this includes shipping costs with the quote.
Now, I'll just look at the quote. So no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Craig, I will mention, since we don't have any other business, and I maybe should have mentioned it on commission comments, probably like the others, I have received numerous texts and emails and had a few people call or stop by to offer comments. And I appreciate the sincerity that they have brought it forth and the courtesy that they've extended, and certainly understand it's a tough issue for everyone.
Yeah, for future public meeting agenda items, we'll be having a public hearing to permanently close the bridge at 2325 Leonard Avenue, November 7th, 2024, here in our offices. The election canvass will be November 14th, beginning at 12:30 in the commission chambers. The election audit will be November 8th at 9:30. And then the election demonstration, November 19th, between 4 and 4:30.
You have to do a post.
Yeah, post-election audit. Anything else to come to the board? Not all, motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried.